one place that's trending a ton is Walt Disney World. As we all know, the parks and the resorts have been closed. The Disney College program has been ended, and then the races are postponed. So we kind of wanted to get a glimpse into like what's been going on with everything, and who better to turn to some of our favorite Disney bloggers. So we have Lisa, who's known as the Castle Runner on Instagram, and Michael, known as Michael Does Disney on Instagram. So thank you for joining Rudy and I today.
Thank you guys
Absolutely.
so much for having us.
So
Thank you for having us.
My question is, when you guys found out this news, exactly that the parks were going to be closed, the resorts were going to be closed, what were your initial reactions? Where were you? How did you find out?
So I was actually recording a podcast walkabout of festival, the Flower Garden Festival, when we found out the news. Honestly, I think at that point, just knowing what was going on in the world, and what had happened with the other parks around the world, it wasn't a shock. We kind of knew it was coming, but still, like, the reality of hearing the news that our safe place was officially closing down, I think was we were all a little bit shaken by it.
And I was sitting at home and I knew that it was coming. I mean, I think that it was inevitable, and I think it was the smart decision for Disney to make that call when they made it.
I think one of the crazy parts about this too, or that I think is hitting so hard, is that this is spring break time. So a lot of people were planning their family vacations. People were looking forward to these couple of weeks here of being able to go to Disney. How are you both getting your Disney fix at the moment? So, since you can't physically be at the parks.
I have been trying every day or every couple of days to write and kind of perform a hand washing or self-isolation or social distancing or quarantine type of song to Disney music to try to kind of keep everybody's spirits up. I think the one that has really kind of blown up a little bit and people really enjoy is my Elsa impersonation to Into the Unknown, called You've Got to Stay Home. And it's just been my little way of kind of being able to help create more magic and bring more magic to other people while kind of keeping it alive.
You need to stay home.
We've been keeping up with Disney Parks blog. There's still a lot happening in the parks. We might not be there, but the animals, for example, at Animal Kingdom are still there and having babies and doing what animals do. So that's been fun to keep up with. And people like the Dapper Dans have been sort of distant singing for people, and that's been fun to watch.
People travel from all over the world to be part of the races that take place on the Disney properties. Yeah. Obviously, the ones in April got canceled. Yes. Were you both signed up for any of those races? And, what is kind of the feel as far as the next ones that might happen?
I was signed up for all three. I think Lisa was.
Yeah, I actually run every single race on property, like literally every 5K, 10K, half and full. So I was of course registered for all three races Star Wars weekend. Again, like, we knew it was coming. I think they were just kind of like rolling out the news and dealing with it internally. Yeah. So it was no surprise when Star Wars was canceled. But again, I think it was just sort of the reality of hearing the news was upsetting. And unfortunately, with Disney, they really aren't in a position to reschedule things the way, like Boston might be able to reschedule its marathon, because the race season, because of the heat down here, the race season is only so long, and they already have other race weekends that are built into the season.
Another thing that I wanted to ask you guys really quick is about the Disney College program. Sure. I know a lot of exchange students had to be sent home because of this, and a lot of people, they're not getting paid, and obviously that's just such a sad situation. Do you guys have friends that were in the Disney College program? Did they tell you any details of exactly what's going on?
I was actually at Epcot. The same day that they announced the closures earlier that day was when they let, unfortunately, the college program kids know what the situation was. And again, like, you think about what's happening in schools all across the country. I mean, these kids are in dorms effectively too, or in college program housing. So having to end the program and evacuate the housing quickly, it's really, really devastating. And I talked to a lot of them that day, and there was just a lot of tears in the parks, and it was really rough, to see them and see what they were going through. They have all been told that they are welcome to reapply. The reality, I'm sure, for a lot of them is that, they had gotten the permission and worked out, in their lives otherwise to be able to spend this time in the parks. And, for those of them that were later in their college careers, especially, whether Disney is able to invite them back or not, whether they can realistically do it, I'm sure is another story.
Thank you guys so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
Rudy and I talk about this all the time, but whenever we need a Disney fix, we always go and we turn to Lisa and Michael's social media. Lisa is the Castle Runner and Michael is Michael Does Disney. So be sure to check them out and get all the Disney knowledge that you guys need, guys, because they are the best.